everyone. I'm going to tell you a little bit about Achieve3000, the differentiated instruction geared on online for students.
Do you know what happens when you're a good reader and a good writer?
Everything you want. If you want to do great in school, you will.
If you want to get into a cool college and get an awesome job, you will. If you want to be a superstar, you will. That's why we're here, to introduce you to KidBiz3000. KidBiz3000 is a special program from a company called Achieve3000. It's going to help everyone in your class learn to read and write better.
Much better.
And you'll have fun too. Promise. Think about all the things that are going on in the world.
Like music, sports, and scientific discoveries.
Or the environment and government. The more you're able to read about and understand what's going on, the more prepared you'll be in school and after school.
What makes KidBiz so cool is that you read articles about what's interesting and important all over the world.
And you do it on a computer or an iPad.
Then you take polls and do fun activities to make sure you understand and can write about what you just read. Easy, right?
Right!
So Achieve3000 gears again towards differentiated instruction that engages all students and all types of readers. The idea is for all students to be able to read, comprehend, and apply and communicate information derived from complex text. Achieve3000 only uses nonfiction articles. The audience is geared from 2nd grade to 12th grade, and they are all in for the goals of college. So the idea of going to college is instilled at a very young age. In the elementary schools, it's called Kid Biz Pros, as you saw earlier. Middle school is Teen Biz Pro, and for high school, it's called Empower Pro. So the average Lexile level or reading level by the time someone graduates in 12th grade is between 910 and 1210. The average Lexile for 12th graders, ELL students, and struggling readers is 720. College requirements do expect you to be around 1300. Achieve3000 also helps students build stamina, their strength to read a complex text, and practice new technology-enhanced items. Teachers also are able to view data on an ongoing basis, and students are actually able to view their own data and assess themselves as well. Step 1 for students. So students will take a level set assessment to determine what Lexile level they are based on a small little quiz. So here is a chart of what the Lexile level should be and what you should aim for. Most of the time, multi-language learners are anywhere from a beginning reader to around 700 Lexile. So why is a Lexile set important? This is a baseline for students to be able to see how they progress and how reading can become something that anyone can do, and they'll be less afraid to do it. This is what it looks like when a student logs into Achieve. They'll choose their own avatar. They'll see their name here. They'll have mail mostly from either other students or from a teacher, notifications, and achievement awards where they will receive badges as they progress in their reading. They also have points here in how many activities they've done. There's also a career center. For example, this student, Francis, wants to be a social worker. Their current Lexile level is 940, and they know that their goal is to be at 1360. So they would take a before reading poll, just a simple question geared towards whatever they'll be reading for that day, and determine whether or not that they will change their minds and write a little bit about it after they read the article and do the activity. So when they read the article, they have an opportunity to close read, even though it's not pen and paper. They'll be able to highlight key details. They'll be able to color coordinate. They'll also have a vocabulary section to the right for extra help, maybe words that may be a little bit more difficult. This little blue arrow right here, they can actually take notes to summarize what they've read, generate questions, and again, set the purpose for their reading. This can also be saved to help them later on to write their thought response, which is written in a quick write format where they will cite evidence and make inferences in an organized paragraph. An activity may be something like determining the main idea. And again, there's an after reading poll where they would decide whether or not their mind has changed and write a little bit about it and be able to compare with other students. What I like about Achieve is that you're able to look at the standards that students may have difficulty in, and you'll be able to assign articles based on those standards. It's also really awesome for data for teachers to decide what's going to drive their next instruction, whether it be a small group or a whole class instruction. They'll be able to pull a group of kids based on a skill or a standard. Percentages are given, what student is mastered at what student is approaching, what student meets, and what student definitely needs an intervention. You can also compare data to other nearby schools. For example, you could change this to, let's see, activities per week, and you can change the school or even sort by name. Step 2. So after students take their baseline assessment, the text that they'll be reading will actually gear towards their Lexile level. So everyone could be reading the same text assigned to them, but on a different Lexile level. Maybe higher vocabulary for a higher Lexile level student, or a little bit shorter for a student who might be a struggling reader with extra supports. Step 3 is ongoing assessments. Students are able to track their growth, receive awards and badges as their thought questions and their responses and their activities are increasing. So again, Achieve3000 does gear towards college readiness. Students are able to plan out their career goals, their top 3, and decide what Lexile is needed and maybe even what articles they can read to learn more about their career choices. Step 4, students will progress for half the year for at least 40 activities, 80 for the whole year, and they'll be evaluated and the rigor will increase as their reading is increasing. What I also like about Achieve is that you're able to print out articles for a small group instruction based on a certain skill or standard, or you can even use it for the whole class. Achieve also allows students to access their reading at school, at home, outside of school, on their phones, wherever they have access to the internet, they'll be able to log in. Teachers can even see who's logging in outside of school hours and assign Achieve for homework. So research shows that students who have used Achieve have tripled their expected reading gains than compared to a regular program. This is what it might look like for when a student or a teacher logs in. You can see a Lexile on the top right. You can send mail to students. You can give students a choice, maybe, to choose maybe a choice of 3 articles to read and what interests them the most. You can write them what activity to use. You can also award them badges if you think they've done great. Over here to your right, to your left, you could access many reports, student work, usage, how long a student is going on, how much their activity they're doing, how long does it take them to read. For example, if you're teaching science and you're learning about animals and habitats, you might want to assign some background information about polar bears, highlight words like terrifying, summarize ideas, generate questions. I think Achieve is also great for building background knowledge depending on what content area you're teaching. For example, if you're reading To Kill a Mockingbird, you might want to assign articles about the Great Depression or Jim Crow laws or segregation, just to build that background knowledge for students. There's a lot of things. You can look at students individually by name. You can access many different types of reports. You can see their total logins, how many times they've logged in after school, what students are in need in what areas, what students are either far below, exceeds, or approaching level. A lot of things you can do with Achieve. So again, research, Achieve has seemed to be one of the top differentiated online instructions for students. These are the creators of Achieve3000. It seems to be a group effort. They also teamed up with Dr. Doug Fisher. I've only taken one webinar with Dr. Fisher. It was very interesting. He's a big advocate for close reading, and this is what we want to teach our students. If they can analyze and close read any content in any content area, including math, social studies, science, ELA, they'll be able to tackle a lot of things and comprehend much better. My students have had Achieve since 6th grade. They're in 8th grade now. However, I am very new to it. They're actually teaching a lot more to me, and it's a lot of work. It takes a lot of years, I think, for them to feel confident to know all the tools that they can access, because Achieve3000 does have many, many tools, and I believe teachers need a good, sufficient amount of training on it. So the Baker framework, if I was to evaluate Achieve, I would say overall it's pretty intense. I would definitely say it's needed. However, my question is, it's gearing students towards college, but is everyone meant for college? It does lack a sense of creativity where students aren't creating their own things. They are writing, they are citing evidence, making inferences, things that is very done in the classroom every single day. It's what's needed. Not enough time for creativity for them to maybe write their own stories or even read a fictional text. It can be a little bit overwhelming or scary with all the tools that Achieve does provide for teachers and for students. So again, training is very necessary, and it does take time for the students to feel more comfortable with that. It's also a very expensive program. I know that my school only pays for 90 students. We decided to use it for the E&L classes. So there's one E&L class for 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade. And we've been using it pretty much 3 times a week during strategic reading periods. I'm still, again, getting used to it. I actually learned a lot from this exercise, and I will say that if I had to keep it or leave it, I would definitely keep it. It does reinforce a lot of things that I teach, and close reading is the very first thing. Matter of fact, the first day of school that we go over and we create our anchor chart together. So that's the ends of it. I hope that this was useful, and maybe you guys will try it one day. Have a great night.